Today I'm going to be walking you through a few key tips for building a new home that many others have overlooked in the past that ultimately led them to frustration and regret. What's up, everybody? Anthony Esposito with eXp Realty, your local real estate expert right here in the Cleveland, Ohio area. I work with buyers, sellers, investors in all their residential needs, specializing in new builds and upsizing their homes. If you have any questions regarding building a home or the real estate market in general, go in the description below. I got all my contact information in there. I also have a calendar link where you can book a call with me at any time. Don't forget, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on. I got plenty of other great content coming your way. With that, let's get into the tips for building a new home. First up on the list is going to be plan your budget. Figure out where you're going to be comfortable at, what you're going to end up wanting to spend, and be reasonable about it. Don't be unrealistic. It's going to cost you anywhere from like mid 300s on up for this area in Northeast Ohio. And the mid 300s, that's going to be a lot of your base kind of homes, your plain Jane. You're not going to get a lot out of it. You're not going to get a bunch of bells and whistles. And that's okay if that fits your style. Some people, they like to add on a lot of things. So when you see that base price on a builder's website, or you see like, a sign from one of the chain builders that are advertising for a development saying, from 350s, that is the absolute minimum. That's not including any add-ons, anything of that nature. Granted, they may have incentives, but just keep that in mind and plan that budget out. Get a realistic number of what you want to go for. Take it from there. The next one on the list, after you plan a budget, which this can possibly determine which route you take, is going to be, do you want to live in a development or do you want to get some land? Now, if you want to live in a development, chances are likely it's going to be a chain builder, at least in this area. Around Northeast Ohio, the majority of developments that are being put up are typically not built by a custom home builder. It's going to be your chain builders. Up here, the three big ones that we have are Ryan Homes, Pulte Homes, and Dries Homes. They all have different price points. They all have their different, perks, their benefits. Pros, cons. Either way you look at it, every builder has pros and cons. So if you're looking for a development, just keep that in mind. More than likely, it's going to be a chain builder, and we have a lot of HOAs up here. It's very few developments that are being put up that don't have some sort of HOA. But don't be scared by that. Not all HOAs are terrible. It's not like days of old, of the horror stories where, you got to have a specific color curtain in your window or something. There's not many that are like that anymore. The majority of them are for keeping the common grounds taken care of, and like the front signage of having that stuff situated and kind of taken care of as well. Now, if you want land, that's a whole different scenario. So you can bring, in our area, Dries Homes will build on your lot. So you can bring them in as a potential cheaper option or a better financial option for you, because they do finance the construction loans a little bit different than your common custom builders. But typically, most people who are wanting some land and they want to build on their lot, they're going to a custom builder. There's tons of custom builders in this area. They all range in what they do, what they provide, quality, craftsmanship, time frames, you name it, everything varies. So you definitely have to meet with a few different ones to really get a feel for who you're going to trust, who you want to build with, and who's going to fit in that budget that you've planned out. Also, keep in mind that the majority of the builders, the custom home builders, they are foundation up. They do not include all your lot prep that goes into it. In certain areas around here, you got to have a septic system. That's not included in that base price. The base price that you see with the majority, if not all the custom home builders, is the foundation up. They don't include driveway. They don't include construction drive. There's so many variables. So keep that in mind as well. So your budget will and can play a factor of if you want a development or if you want to find some land to build on your own lot. Next up, that most don't think of, is going to be the home orientation. Now, usually you can't really do this with the chain builder in a development because you go in, their models that they have, that's the models that they have. You really can't customize it to the extent. Custom builders, obviously, you can change pretty much anything and everything. It's going to cost you, but you can change things up. So with home orientation, you want to do the longer sides of the home running from east to west. You may ask why, and that is simply because it is more energy efficient and you'll get more natural light. So keep that in mind when you're actually building a home, of keeping the long sides of the house east to west. Next up is going to be the elevation of the home. Now, a lot of people, you see the elevation, it goes through, you'll see like classic, craftsman, farmhouse, modern. There's a few different ones that are out there, but that's the popular ones to name a few. Now, when you see that on picture, it doesn't really like show you the changes so much, but a lot of times it'll have a different pitch to the roof, and that's an added cost. So the different elevations will have different added costs, but overall, the elevation is going to be a key point that you want to pick what you want as long as it fits in your budget. And I say that because the majority of stuff on the inside of the home, you can upgrade later on down the road for a cheaper cost typically. The elevation itself, you can't necessarily change the pitch of the roof without a huge cost on that. You can't just, change the siding or add masonry, without that big cost to come into it. Whereas if you wanted, say, quartz countertops inside the home, that's going to be a much cheaper cost to get that done compared to completely changing the outside of your house. So focus on that elevation more than the interior things and get what you want as far as the exterior of the home, of how it looks. So next up is going to be the future resale. Yes, this is your dream home that you're building. That's why we build a home. We want what we want, and we want to feel like we're living a life of luxury, basically. Like, this is my house, look what I did. And it's a great accomplishment. But unfortunately, things can happen. It may be a need to resell the house. It might just be a want to resell the house. Maybe you're downsizing. Maybe you purchased that lot that you had 5 acres and it's just too much to take care of anymore. So you want to get more low maintenance so you don't have to do lawn care down the road. Whatever your situation is, it could vary. And if it ends up being your lifelong house, then great, that's fantastic. But if it does change, keep in mind for that resale value. So you want to choose stuff that's like a timeless design, quality materials that's going to appeal to all sorts of buyers that are coming through. This next one is super important, and it is overlooked by probably 98-99% of the people, and that is regular inspections. Now, I say that because I have 15 years in construction as an electrician. 3 of those years were on residential homes. And I could tell you right now, I know personally, the inspections that we call in, half the time, they're not even really looking like to the T, nitpicking at every little detail. They will look for a lot of the general stuff, the main safety hazards. They'll keep an eye on things, but it is nothing like bringing in your own home inspector that is going to nitpick every little detail. I personally have had tickets signed off by home inspectors where they basically did the, oh, looks good to me, sign off, and we're done. And that is crazy when you think about it, especially in the electrical field without looking at things. So the regular inspections, yes, they're going to cost you money, but in the long run, this is the biggest investment you are going to make. This home is your asset. You want to make sure it's built properly and up to code. There's times that things are missed, and a lot of people end up having a headache trying to get stuff corrected down the road, or sometimes it's like a major type of fix that the builder will do if you catch it within that warranty. That's the big one too, is most builders, you'll have a 1-year fit and finish kind of warranty on those. So if you don't realize it within that first year, you're kind of dead in the water on it. So make sure you get your regular home inspections, even though they cost money every single time. Do it through the whole build process to make sure everything is covered and up to code to the T. Next is going to be a lot of little things that most people don't even think about when they're going through the build process, because it is extremely overwhelming. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of information that gets piled on top of you all at one time. And it's a lot of overlooked things that later on down the road, it's like, oh, I wish I had that. Or you see it somewhere and it's like, oh, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? And that is going to be the design add-ons for the home itself. Now, this is going to be in addition to what you get in your package. So think of things like holiday lighting. Well, why not put outlets up in your eaves? Have that done on construction. That'll be something quick and easy, plug in. You don't got to run extension cords all over the place trying to make it look nice. Or toe kick drawers underneath your cabinets. There's dead space that sits underneath the cabinet. If you can afford that in your budget, throw some toe kick drawers on there. Personally, I think they'd be great for like those cookie sheets or, some pans that you could throw in there instead of putting them in a cabinet or hanging them up. Kind of just keep stuff tucked away. That's my personal opinion. Or even think about putting your trash can in one of the drawers, like one of the cabinets, instead of having it sit out somewhere. I know that drives me nuts because mine sits out. And now I have family members who have them in drawers, that pull out drawers, and some of these custom builders are putting them in their kitchens. And it is such a great idea. It keeps that hidden away. Do you want under cabinet lighting? If so, find out how much it'll be to put an outlet inside the cabinet, so then you can hide the wiring system. And then you don't always have to have like the rechargeable pucks or something and you're taking them down and charging them every so often. Just plug them in, have them on a switched, a switched outlet. So you can just turn them on, turn them off, dim them, do what you want. Or even consider utilizing a space for all your electronic type devices, like your modems, your routers, charging stations, things of that nature. So maybe throw in, quite a few outlets so you could plug those in and kind of have them organized, so you don't have like all the cords that are all showing all over the place. I know it drives me nuts. I'm sure it drives a lot of you nuts, just trying to dress things up and make your entertainment system, look nice and pleasant and welcoming. Those are just a few of the design add-ons. There's a lot more than that, but there's a few that just to consider when you're building your house. And the last tip that I'm going to give you guys, I hear this one all the time. A lot of people don't even realize it. And it's usually like, oh, I never even knew. They seem kind of shocked. And that is, work with an agent. Work with one of us. The majority of builders in my area, at least, I can't speak for others, but in Northeast Ohio, the majority of the builders will cover our commission. So it doesn't even come out of your pocket to have us represent you. So let me represent you. Let me help you through this process. Like any other, home buying, home selling, you name it. If you're in the real estate market, or if you've dealt with it in the past and you understand this, it's going to be stressful. It's going to be that much more overwhelming when you're building, because there is so much more involved than just going to look at houses or getting your house prepped, ready to sell. There's way more steps that go involved with this, and it is extremely overwhelming. You're going to sit down for, picking out your design and going through all that. You will end up having like a headache by the end of that meeting. So have me represent you, have an agent represent you and help you through this process. If you have questions on anything during the build process, well, you're at work, you're dealing with your life, your family, whatever the case is. Send a quick text to me and just say, hey, can you get this question asked? Can you see where we're at on this or that, whatever the case is? Let me go to the builder and pose those questions to, the GC that's running the actual home site itself. I will figure it out. I'll find that answer for you, and it just eliminates some of that stress. It keeps the overwhelming feeling down, which will ultimately lead towards a better experience in building your home, a more fun one, a more exciting one, instead of just having a massive headache and just feel like you took on the world and you got nowhere to go. Plus, it'll also help have an ease of mind knowing that everything's moving in order and you're not losing track of stuff on top of your daily life, because it is so much when you build a home. So there you have it, guys. There's the tips I wanted to go over when you're building a home to keep that stress down, keep the overwhelming feeling down, and to have you go into this process just knowing a few different key factors before you enter into it, so you don't end up with those regrets that many others have made in the past. Again, if you have any questions about building a home or the real estate market, go in the description below. You can book a call with me. I'd love to chat, love to help you out any way I can, give you any insight. Also, if you got anything out of this video, smash that like button. It would greatly be appreciated. And subscribe to the channel. I got tons of excellent content. Don't forget to turn notifications on so you won't miss any of the videos that I drop every single week. And with that, I'll catch you on the next video.